Okay, so let's begin. So basically, we have ETL. So basically, ETL is known as a process of collecting unstructured data into a structured form. Yeah, and basically in ETL we have a extraction of a data. So that extraction of data can be from the different sources, maybe the source from the API or the source from the flat file. So in context with the JSON file or Excel file. So those type of data we gather in the extraction process, and talking with the transformation. So transformation means about the data cleaning, about the data filtration. Okay, so all this process is done. Then after we can load the data uh, to our single database or to the multiple database. So talking the context today, so I'll be uh, talking on, so if you are seeing my screen, so I'll be talking on two things. So basically this will be the lightning talks of mine. So I won't be talking more details on that. So first agenda will be on the comparison between the modern versus traditional ETL, and I'll be explaining some real example about how the ETL process are being done. So first of all, just I told you about the ETL. So basically ETL is known as the extract, transform, and load. So collecting the unstructured data to the structured form in context to the schema. Uh, and when we are getting the data, so that data can be from a different source. That can be from the JSON file, or can be from the Excel file, or from the third-party vendor. So we are getting those data. So that data we are collecting. So we are collecting those data and transforming into our logics. Okay, into our requirement, and uh, uh, according on the state of transformation, uh, we are checking the data duplication. So whether the data are being duplicated or not, we are filtering the data according to our logics. Yeah, so those all processes are done on the transformation side. And on the loading side, so that loading is context to setting your unstructured data to the structured data set. So you can store on a SQL database or a Oracle database. So if we talk on the ETL in the cloud, so why not ETL in the on-premises server? Why ETL in the cloud? Because if we see the difference between traditional ETL and modern ETL, so in traditional ETL we have to do a manual coding. There used to be a lots of SQL queries, but on context to a modern ETL, we can manage fully on the cloud. So if there is any update changes, so we can just manage those type of dependency on the cloud. Yeah, and coming with the batch processing, so on your on-premises you can just run single instance only. You cannot run onto the multiple instance. So for that you need to add a server. So when talking with the cloud, so you can just run your ETL process. Okay, so ETL process on the multiple instances on the multiple servers. So that as Sagar has told about the serverless function, so you can make a serverless function and can run multiple ETL processes from the different source. Okay, so their source can come from the different endpoints. So after getting that endpoint, we'll transform the data. We'll just cleans up all the data and store and load into our database. So that database can be of single instance as well as the multiple instance as well as. So, and talking more about the traditional ETL, so there is one thing is about the cost. Okay, and in the model ETL, the cost might be issue, but it depends upon your architecture, that what type of architecture your ETL process have. Okay, so in traditional ETL, you need to maintain more servers for the for running your job, but in modern ETL, so based on the cloud, so just you make a serverless function or power or any type of. So in context to AWS, you can use Lambda function and con your and can run your multiple jobs. So just highlighting this traditional and modern ETL. So the main core is that about your cost factor. So if we are using on-premises ETL, then the cost will raise. Okay, so based on your server, that basically on your memory, so you cannot scale up your server, so that requires a lot of your cost. So rather than that, move to the cloud. Okay, so use data lake or Azure data factory, and use your ETL process. So that will be the most flexible and reliable way to uh, conduct your ETL process. So just telling some real example that what I have did on the ETL. So basically I have a product. Okay, I have a product from Daraz.com. So from the Daraz, what I'll be doing is that I'll be capturing the product, okay, with the image and with the price. Okay, so for this I need to make a ETL process. Okay, so this is a real scenario which I'm going to explain you all. So for that, what I need to do is that I need to first web scrap the Daras.com. So first, I'm not doing illegal things. Okay, so this is just an example. So first of all, what I'll do is that I'll web scrap or I'll do data mining from daras.com. Okay, make an handler just like Azure for serverless function. I can make that, and I can just uh, get all the information. So basically in web scraping, what we need to do is that we need to know the nodes of the HTML element. Okay, so suppose from the dollars.com I have known their HTML element, and I have just get their product details, get their price, get their images. Okay, and now what I need to do is that I need to manually make a job and run in a day and extract the data into my database. Okay, so for this, I have a architecture like this. I have make an architecture with the help of this is a just example of a Dorat, okay, or Sosto deal or any e-commerce website. You can make a ETL process like this. Okay, so first of all, talking with a handler. So basically, handler is a serverless function or anything. Basically, it is a job. Okay, so talking about the handler, first of all, what I need to do is that I need to get a source. Okay, the source is the doras.com. So from that doras.com I have made a web scraping function, or I have got a Excel file, or I have got a JSON file from them. So all those unstructured data, what I'll do is that I will maintain a function, and under that function I will throw to the main function, so that can be of a serverless function also. Okay, and those product, what I'll do is that I'll break into the chunk. Okay, suppose if there are 20,000 records, so I will break every 20,000 record into 200 record, or into 500, sorry, not 200 or 500, into 2,000 record or 5,000 record. So what benefit we will get uh, after breaking the record into a chunks? Because the serverless function or the Azure function can run only by default 10 minutes, and it is no, by default it is 5 minutes, and we can run only 10 minutes. Okay, so breaking your function into multiple chunks, so what it can do is that it can multi-thread your jobless architecture, or services. Okay, so if you have a 20,000 products with the image, so what you will be doing is that you will be chunking each and every into 2,000 or 5,000 records, and it will create a new instance. So after and creating a new instance, that means creating a new thread. Okay, and what I'll be doing is that I'll be using a messaging queue. Okay, so why messaging queue? Because because I have a product. Okay, I have a product of 10,000 or 15,000 products. If I send in one direction only, okay, in one parallel direction only, the server cannot handle the load. So for for making a distributed application, okay, so this means that you are making a distributed your ETL data into different instances. Okay, you are creating a different instances, so that your function won't break, your function won't break the chain. So that's why we are using the messaging queue. So whether you go to AWS or any cloud platform, so under your ETL process, so this is not on the traditional, okay, so this is based on the cloud. So in the traditional ETL, you don't use a messaging queue, you just so the data comes, you will be inserting one by one by for loop, okay. But in the cloud, what you can do is that you have a chunks of product, okay, throw those chunks of product to a messaging queue, and in the messaging queue, what it will see is that it will see one by one data, okay. And after getting those data, you can also trigger to different function. You can trigger to a multiple function, just like there is a function 1 and function 2. So this function 1 is what it is doing is that it is getting your JSON data to a different database, to the example called SQL. There is a SQL database. It is throwing your data to a SQL database. So maybe a function 2 can throw your data to Oracle, okay. So this is a simple general example of ETL process. So this I have shown about the DORAs, okay. So suppose you have a DORAs and you are web scraping, you have made a web scraping and you want to get all the data from the DORAs in your custom website, in your application. So in the ETL process, you need to make a function, main function. So there might be a handler, okay, that there might be a feed handler. So that feed handler means the API or the flat file, okay. So from that handler, you need to get all the products, and then after chunking that products, we send to the messaging queue, okay. So after messaging queue, so if any new file triggers, okay, so we can save on the just like in AWS there is S3 bucket, in Azure there is blob storage, okay. So whenever new file stores on block storage, so we can just call new Azure function or new serverless function, and according to your logic, according to your requirement, you can multitask those requirement on the different function, and you would store your source file, source on structure file to your structure file. So this is one example which I have just given you to view. So I think it will make more clear. So if somebody hasn't known about that ETL process, so I think this is the best architecture you should work with a cloud, okay. And in terms of defining the cost, okay, so basically uh, traditional ETL is more costly than cloud. In cloud, there might be a cost, but you need to choose that what type of resources, what type of architecture you are planning to. So so these are the main keys which I have talked on the lightning talks on ETL on the cloud. So this all about my talks, and hopefully this is something we should know about the ETL process, because nowadays everyone wants to make an application, right? So that may be of e-commerce, but we need to get a data, so just we cannot manually feed the data. We need some automatic process. So go with the ETL, okay, go with the Azure data factory, okay, Azure data lake. So I haven't mentioned those type of things in here in my PPT, but try with that, so it will be more beneficial for your ETL process, for collecting your data into your database. So that's all for my talk. You can join me on my Facebook on Raj Nepal 1, and I am the organizer of TechWebinar Nepal. So you can just like, comment, and share, or if you like our Azure Bootcamp, just you can comment something. So go with facebook.com/techwebinar.